How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Legends of the Unknown. Today we have special guest Matt.
How's it going?
And once again we have Frank.
What's up, Legend Nation?
How's it going, everyone?
I'm good. Very good.
You guys ready to get into the next legend?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
You got your whiskey there?
Bourbon.
Bourbon?
Bourbon guy.
Okay. We got some whiskeys here. Bourbon. What is that? Creekside? Climax? Climax is pretty good. Maybe.
Avoiding the obvious jokes for
Right.
now. We'll keep it professional
Alright.
for a few minutes.
So we're going to get into this legend, alright?
Zombie dust.
Looks like that.
Oh,
This is gonna be
Random shit. Picture.
This is gonna be big advertising thing.
Anyways.
Blurring that stuff out.
Alright. We're going to get into this legend today, alright? And this is going to go back to the Navajo tribe. The biggest thing that I've read about the Navajo tribe is they believe in skinwalkers. I mean, have you heard of skinwalkers? Have you seen pictures?
Lots of documentaries on it online. Especially there's a whole series on Discovery Plus that I've been watching. So it's all about Skinwalker Ranch, though, so it's just one specific location, not
Yeah.
the entire legend. So
That sounds like a more ranch thing. But
Hey,
That actually was on Plain Ranch.
I was in that one. So no, to be honest, all I've heard is the name. I've not heard of Skinwalker. So
Okay.
what is the whole?
supposedly paranormal or demonic.
Yeah, spiritual type legend.
Okay.
So we're going to dive into this. I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on this. So the definition of a skinwalker is from the Navajo tribe, is a harmful witch who has the ability to turn into, possess, or disguise themselves as an animal. So one of the big things that they turn into, I guess, are like foxes, dogs, cougars, bears, and and wolves. So that's their main route per se.
Okay.
All right. The native tribe, the Navajo tribe, calls the witch the Yini Na Badushi. Sorry if I messed that up. Which translates to, with it, he goes on all fours. So it makes sense of the animals that is supposedly shapeshifted. So I'm not saying I'm necessarily scared of this legend, but what intrigues me is the native legends.
And they're terrified of it.
Yeah, they are. But for years and generations passed down, and this legend, it never dies. So going by that, so far, what do you think of this legend? From what I've told you, do you think like this is plausible, this is real, or is it stories passed down?
To be honest, I think it's stories passed down of people trying to explain the unexplainable. That's but at the same time, I was, as you were talking about, I was trying to put myself into their shoes, their situation in the Navajo out west, Mexico, center area, and it's one thing to be when you're amongst a group of people in the middle of the night. Everyone's 10 foot tall over.
Right.
You get out by yourself in the middle of the woods or in plains and nothing. That's a whole other story. Your alone is just on you. So I can see how this story would perpetuate and then be passed down. So I mean, and yeah, certainly they didn't have TV, they didn't have books and so forth back then. I mean, as a creative outlet.
Right.
With that one.
Well, the thing I find intriguing is that the youth and the people that are alive today are just as scared of it as their parents and their grandparents before them. So that's what makes it intriguing to me, because some legends and urban myths, that kind of stuff, that get passed down are just like, it's whatever. But so you watch some of these shows, and these native people, they will not go to where a skinwalker has been spotted, or where they're known to hang out. So that to me is the most
That
intriguing.
is modern time.
Yes.
So to go back what you were talking about going, you're with a group of people and you're 10 foot tall bulletproof.
Yeah.
They, as a tribe, will not go anywhere alone because of this.
Okay.
So that's kind of ironic that you say that, because you'll never see the Navajo necessarily being alone because of this legend,
Yeah.
or one of the reasons, from this legend. So to obtain these supernatural powers, one must be initiated into the society that requires you to complete the E-list of deeds. So some have even been, one of these are you have to go kill, or usually it was a family member per se.
Okay.
But to be in this society, you had to do an evil deed for them to acquire you into this.
Mhm.
So once they obtained these powers, became shapeshifters, that's when they would be able to, shapeshift into a bear, wolf, fox. So, I guess, do you think this really could happen? Like, a person nowadays could shapeshift into an animal?
I mean, I believe in the paranormal, so I believe that people can still, sure, like devil worship, that kind of stuff. Shapeshifting, I don't know, I'd personally have to see it to believe it, but that's just my nature. I don't really believe in anything until I have proof of it, so.
Yeah, and I'm kind of the same way. In some regards, there's no proof of it. I'm very much like most of our generation, very scientifically minded.
Right.
But and with the number of people out there, there's no direct proof. Nobody's been caught. But then again, if you're a shapeshifter and you've been caught, are you going to shift?
Stay the same, or you're gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there. So yeah, I can kind of see it as plausible.
So I'm gonna go back to, I think it was like 2008, 2009. There's a video of a shapeshifter, lizard man, that was walking down, I think it was like a presidential thing, something, and you could see in the camera never changed, but when he would turn his head, his face and his demeanor would change. Like his ears would change and so forth. I'm not saying that it can't be doctored,
Right.
but it makes the legend go on.
Yeah.
That now there's footage out there. Again, it could be doctored, I don't know, but you have people now believing this legend that they hear of way back when, and now modern times, that this is happening. And then you can also go on the internet, because everything's true on the internet. Like people are hunting and they have their trail cams up, and you see like some werewolf type looking man, that's a shapeshifter, that's caught on a camera at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I'm gonna say I don't think it can happen. I firmly believe that ghosts, sure. Shapeshifting people, or shapeshifters, I'm
So
not
what?
100%.
All right, and that surprised me because being the paranormal researcher that you are, you believe in ghosts, but yet you can't believe in just then go that one extra step to believe in this. Like, why are you not able to take that leap?
Because it's the whole shapeshifting thing. I believe in witches. I think witches are still around. That's essentially what this is.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think a witch can take a power and be like, okay, I'm going to turn into a dog today.
Well, what if someone gets possessed?
That's different because they don't change their form. If they're possessed by a demonic entity that is in the spiritual realm,
Right.
but they never shapeshift.
Yeah.
So I don't going back. I don't think I can't see someone turn themselves into a dog to complete a task or so forth. So they go on saying that skinwalkers were antlers and animal skulls because it brought them more powers and would shapeshift into certain animals depending on the task at hand. So if they needed speed, shapeshift into a dog. If they needed power, they'd shapeshift into a bear. But has anyone ever heard of the Wendigo?
Again, just the name.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's another native legend, and it seems more so of Wendigo is tied into this, which is actually tied to the Great Lakes region, Ohio and so forth. That's come down from Canada, the plains, and now over to the Great Lakes regions. But the Wendigo, which is kind of off topic, is a cannibal that a human turns into this Wendigo after being a cannibal. That's one way that it turns. It turns into a shapeshifter. The skinwalkers' leaders, usually an older man who was very powerful and was long-lived as a shapeshifter. So now it has a kind of a ranking system.
Okay.
What were your thoughts?
So, David Koresh,
Okay.
a cult leader, is when you start talking about that, so that a cult leader within the Indian tribes and so forth, he's able to, just persuade people.
Like a rogue shaman.
Yeah, exactly.
But I guess that's where, like when I said, it doesn't scare me, but it makes me wonder because I'm big into like Native history as well, and like Tecumseh. Tecumseh was a prophet, and he said for 10 summers, he's trying to get everyone to come together to fight off
United tribes.
Yeah. So going back to that, I don't know. I can see where it's a cult type thing, but I guess there is one leader. I can see that.
Is it passed down? So what
Yeah.
happens when that guy dies?
Yeah.
Then it gets passed to the next person? How does that?
But is it like a prophet thing, like with Tecumseh, per se?
I don't know.
So I'm reading, and I can't remember the name of the book right offhand. I'm reading about the Comanche right now.
Yep.
And one thing that's very hard for European civilizations or was very hard for them to understand about Native American cultures at the time, was their power structure, or their leadership structure. It was nothing like what we have today or back then, where we have a president or a king or so forth. It was very loose. A loose organization. Tribes, a bunch of people who identified as, Shawnee, Forest, Comanche, etc.
Yeah.
There was no one chief who spoke for the
It's
entire
a bunch of different sets.
Yeah,
it's
council.
Yeah. So one of the things they were supposed to talking about, and I got it. Plus, you guys are interested in sports. But anyways, come up war chiefs. You know, especially in the Comanche tribes, they don't believe in. They never did believe in stuff like this, ghosts or extra higher powers or something.
Really?
Yeah, they were just. We are
Wow.
here. We're gonna do this, and then what would be what we, you know,
Yeah.
they didn't believe that stuff. It wasn't until near the end of like the late 1850s and 60s when through the integration of other tribes and the assimilation of the tribes into Comanches were the last holdout against the great white power.
Yeah,
you know, so,
yeah. The movement.
exactly. Manifest destiny. But it wasn't until that assimilation that the Comanches then started to believe this. So before that, they didn't believe it. They were just here to kill some buffalo and push. And the Comanches were brutal. They pushed out all the other tribes. You know, you want to talk about how brutal the Europeans were, you know, taking over the land. I mean, the Comanches were just as brutal. They came down from the Rockies north, like Wyoming area. They took over Texas, Oklahoma. So that's a whole story. But their power structure was if their war chief, they had a war chief and they had a peace chief. The only way you got to be a war chief is if you proved yourself in battle, and then a bunch of other Indians and Native Americans said, all right, yeah, this guy's pretty smart, he knows what the hell we're doing, we're going to follow him. That was it. There was no, but he didn't speak for
Right.
the
The full tribe.
Exactly.
That kind of, I don't know, that kind of has me speechless, I guess. Like, you know, like talk. Because I should say every, because also they just proved it wrong. But the tribes always, you know, had their rain dances. So they're always spiritual. It wasn't like modern religion today.
No.
They lived off the land. They, you know, so that surprised me that they were just more like, hey, we're here. Let's go. You know, let's obviously live and
Expand.
yeah.
Well, but don't get me wrong, don't like hijack. That was truly just the Comanche
Right.
out there. The others, though, like around this area, Shawnee, the Mohicans, etc., they were very spiritual, very religious.
But everything I really looked at was a lot of this, just like this, is derived from that spiritual side of the tribes. Because, you know, every tribe pretty much has their own version or legend of that, you know,
Evil.
yeah.
Yeah, so this is pretty much their demon, pretty much,
Yeah.
on Earth, that would manifest and show up when, I don't know, when there were bad things going to happen. That's the vibe that I get whenever I watch something about skinwalkers, is that they just show up at the bad times in someone's life. So it almost seems like a spiritual thing where it's kind of like you, almost a vision that you have of this. So it may not even be real,
Right.
but it might just be something that your mind projects if you believe in it.
So listen to this. This actually,
So if it's something out in the wilderness at night that you see, you could just make it a skinwalker.
Yeah.
If it's a wolf or a bear or whatever it is, and you see it at night and it looks terrifying and you get a very bad feeling, that might transition itself into being a skinwalker in your mind.
okay.
That's
So-
how I might see it.
This is kind of not off topic, but going by what you're saying. So I had a buddy in school, we were roommates in college. He would always see a black dog
Mm-hmm.
walking around his bed at night. And it'd freak him out. Okay? When we were living together, he said, I saw the black dog tonight. He's like, I'm kind of nervous. Man, whatever. Go to bed. Dude, we woke up next morning, there was a dog here. We didn't have dogs.
Like that happens in all like spiritual like stories where they say something gets left behind after seeing a ghost, right? Like that's where I could see the skinwalker being real, is if it's after shapeshifting and leave something behind, physical evidence of it, and back in that time you can really document it that well. So
Right.
that's different from today, where they're still for some reason terrified of the skinwalker. That doesn't explain. That to me is what still is confusing, is why today they're all still terrified of the skinwalker.
Right.
If it's just an urban legend, I think the Mexicans have like La Llorona, I think is the demon that they're all terrified of as well. It's just like those urban legends that are still around today that modern time people are still terrified of. Is just what intrigues me.
There's El Chupacabra too.
Yeah.
So
Let me ask you this: do you feel that we as Americans are so desensitized that we're missing out?
I think we are very closed-minded. I think that there are people out there that are more entwined with their heritage. I think the main issue with America is that we're a big melting pot, so we're not all from here originally, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whereas like your Native Americans, they were here first, they've been here forever, and they have ties to this land way before any Americans ever set foot here.
yeah,
Same with the Mexicans, they were there before, they've been there forever, and then they have their history that they've had passed down.
I guess that's where I'm at with. Not like I'm saying like I'm not scared of it, but that legend, like it has a whole different meaning because it goes from so many generations.
Yeah.
It's not where 1970 it all started.
Yeah.
It goes back to, like you said, 1800s, and even before that, because it's passed down from so many generations.
Yeah.
But there again, too, I kind of want to come back to what you were talking about here a second ago, but no, because our society, especially since the beginning of the 1900s, we had radio. Then the turnover of culture and
Nothing
beliefs and so
spiritual.
forth just started. It's every 10 years we have a new
Technology.
exactly. It's kind of killed it for us in our generation for our society in that regard. But then prior to that, all you had was religions.
Right.
And those stories perpetuated the Bible, and Islam. Perpetuated how many thousand years, just the same stories. Because that's all you had. That was all the social.
Yeah.
You
You had books. You didn't have like
TV.
Yeah. If I want to find something out, hey Google.
Exactly.
What's this about?
Mhm.
You were more in depth with what you read and so forth.
So with your campfire, you think you put yourself in those shoes back then, in the 1700s, Native American tribe. What are your campfire stories going to be around about? Stuff you already know.
Right. Yeah.
So that's how I see this legend perpetuating from how many hundred years,
So
from 2 generations. So.
okay, I'm gonna put it back on you.
Mm-hmm.
You said it's campfire. We talked about campfire stories before. Do you think it's more of a, hey, I'm gonna scare you with this, or hey, this is actually legitimate. This was passed down from my grandfather to his grandfather to my dad to me.
Well, is there any consequences with coming in contact with the skinwalker? Because that could be a thing if you come in contact with the skinwalker face to face, something bad might happen to you.
So I didn't read anything about like consequences, but I did read where it says, if a skinwalker is near, you'll hear banging on your windows or walls, peering through your windows, and scraping noises on the roof.
I mean, that's just a typical
Yeah.
Saturday in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
When Maggie is drunk.
Yep,
I
pretty
mean,
much.
Like, who's looking at our windows last night?
I'm sure you can this out.
But I mean, and they've also are said to appear in front of your vehicles when you're driving. So going back to the bunny man.
Yeah.
Oh, what do? You stop?
Fuck no. Hit the gas.
That raccoon, it was a shapeshifter.
Hey, you can't. Again, it goes back to the feeling, in my opinion. Or unless the skinwalkers have some different thing to their eye, I don't know. Like how
They do. A shapeshifter has red eyes, and a lot of times, like if they're shapeshifted into a human, they have animal-like eyes. So is Kevin a shapeshifter?
No, Kevin has yellow eyes. In the flashlight.
Okay, alright.
Kevin's creepy ass fucking cow. I'm just saying. And that cow's obsessed with me.
Leave Kev alone, alright, man? He just wants friends, right? So, go ahead.
Listen, and if we got a minute, I kind of want to go back to the whole cultural thing, question. Really kind of close to you. Do you feel our modern society, especially in North America, is missing out on, I don't want to say cultural benefits, but just the attachment, to the cultural attachment, because we don't have stuff like, you were talking about the name of the Mexican...
La Llorona?
Yeah. We don't have that. We don't have shapeshifter, landing, etc.
I think so, because I mean,
So we miss out.
I mean, my family's personally from Scotland, so I would have no.
Hey, Scotland.
I've never been to Scotland. I don't know their heritage. I would love to, but that again, that's back to the point where I think we're missing out on the heritage side of it. Did our ancestors believe that kind of stuff? Most likely, but we haven't had that being passed down from generation to generation. And I think Christianity may have had something to do with it in terms of blocking it. Because
Christianity.
Yeah, because
Coming in.
everything in the Bible says something that is spiritual is most likely a demon, which I don't believe. I believe that spirits can still manifest in the actual world itself. Hence all your other cultures that say that as well. Like Day of the Dead with the Mexicans, where they come back and you can give them offerings, that kind of stuff.
Would you want to go on like ghost hunt then?
Absolutely. I watch Ghost Adventures.
I want to take Frank on a legitimate ghost hunt where we actually catch some stuff.
But that's the thing, because I'm still kind of skeptic about that part, but I have had my own experiences. Like I was standing in our old house, completely off topic, sorry. Standing in our old house in the kitchen, and we don't have AC. It was in the middle of July, and our AC unit was in the living room. I was in the kitchen, which is on the opposite side of the house. There's no cold air whatsoever, and I'm just standing there still, and I feel a cold breeze just brush the back of my neck, chills all over my body, that kind of stuff. I knew it was a spirit. I know that house was haunted in some aspect. If it was residual or an actual spirit that was intelligent, I never dug deep into it. I didn't want to. But we had stuff get thrown off counters, off our dressers, that kind of stuff. So there was something in the house.
Wrap this one up, and then we can fucking talk.
Okay, that's fine.
Because pretty much probably all this is going to cut out at this point. But we got way off topic, dude.
But
That's what podcast is all about.
exactly.
Yeah. All right. So.
All right. No. So here's another question. Given the choice, considering what the Native Americans had to do to become a shapeshifter, they had to do some truly evil deed.
Right.
And knowing what a lot of deeds that the Native American tribes did just on a regular basis,
Scalping people.
Going to other villages to steal slaves, or just kill people, steal goods.
Might be more common than you would think.
What's considered the
truly evil deed?
Yeah.
Like murder.
I think that's where it comes back to the family. I think that's truly the most outrageous deed, the most evil deed that you can do.
At that time, yeah, it makes sense.
because like you said, you're doing that to neighboring tribes per se, or you're going through and stealing their goods. So yeah, I think the biggest deed that you could do was against your own family member.
Okay. Which, yeah, that makes sense.
So, all right,
Would you become a skinwalker?
absolutely not.
No.
But
You would turn down that power to just shapeshift and be one with the world and nature and.
But to get to that point and to become that, you would not feel close to nature. You probably feel more closer to evil than anything. I'd rather be human and feel close to the earth than.
Gotcha.
yeah, if I were God, I need my grass. You know, I'll do that.
Let's snuggle up to Kevin and just.
Thinking about that.
Yeah. So, going back to what you were saying about
If I find you, if I see you out in the field,
eating with Kevin, this bring me grass.
I'm leaving you alone because this is coming to fruition. I'm leaving you alone.
Just like shine like my eyes, see the red. And
Exactly. First thing I'm doing is calling him. Keep this just.
you should get them. So,
Oh dear God. Anyways, sorry.
these tribes had prophets, correct?
Medicine man, yeah.
Is the shaman, or
Medicine man, shaman, yeah.
was he a prophet, or what was that?
It just depends on the, because prophets in general are, depends on if they claim to be sent from God or just a vessel. Because if they claim to just be a good pronouncer of whatever word is being, like David Koresh said he was a vessel. He didn't claim he was sent from God to give these people what they wanted. He was just using his voice as to project whatever was in God's word. That's pretty much what it was. So it's either you claim to be that you are sent from God directly, or just a vessel. Those are the two kind of prophets. And depending on which one it is, then if you're claiming to be something that you're not, that's an issue. And if you're just claiming to be a vessel, that's it. The term prophet usually goes back to the Bible when it's a person sent from heaven to earth, or someone who's here and has physically spoken to their God to give word.
Right.
Okay.
So if you're just a prophet as a vessel, you're not really speaking to God. You're just taking what is in front of you and speaking it your way, and people are taking it better than most.
Okay, so yeah, I know we kind of drifted in both ways, but that's all right. I'm cool with that.
Later.
Okay.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
A shapeshifter. Besides paranormal, do you think it could happen?
I think anything's possible. I think if it may not even be. I know they twist it as being a demon, being paranormal, that kind of stuff. But you talk about like the Skinwalker Ranch type of deal, where there very well could be a portal. These things could be interdimensional aliens coming from other places. That's all a possibility, because I don't know. We don't know. That's
Right.
something that we probably won't know in our lifetime. Our kids probably won't know in their lifetime, but that's always a possibility. So I think that, is it a human shape-shifting? Probably not. Is it something unknown? Yes.
Okay. What do you think?
No, and I think he hit the nail on the head. And to be honest, I think it's plausible.
Plausible?
With as much as we know scientifically and so forth, but how much don't we know as well?
Yeah.
And there are definitely things outside of our realm of physical observation that.
Because they could have just been making it into a demon paranormal type of stuff, where it could be something out of this world.
So when you put it in those contexts, I guess I could see it happening.
Yeah.
But as far as human shapeshifting into an animal to do their task or their deed,
No.
I don't see it happening.
I don't. You know what? I'm gonna go against my. I
Really?
said, yeah, I could. In a way, I can kind of see it happening. I don't get me wrong. I'm not 100% on it. I would say more like 50 or 60% nay.
Yeah.
But that 40% of me that says I could, I'm kind of open to. I can see that happening. If you connect all the dots to it, yeah.
So you're probably too old for this, but do you remember the? you remember the book Anamorphosis?
If I saw a picture, maybe.
It's where like they had like a dolphin and it turned into like a person's face that
Yeah,
book cover.
I think I vaguely
Do you know it?
No, all right. You
That's
caught
fine.
it. So sorry.
That's kind of what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's surprising. I'm really that surprised that you are kind of on the edge of it could possibly happen. So
I mean, yeah, it's to think about it logically, and to keep open the possibility of what if. Yeah, I could definitely see it happening or being true.
okay.
So
I think in our day and age, we're, again, going back to you, we're so scientific minded that we are closed minded to what could possibly happen, but in our mindset these days, I don't think that something like that would ever make sense to us.
exactly, yeah.
Okay. Well,
And what about you? I mean, do you think it?
I honestly don't think it'll happen, or it could happen. The Skinwalker Ranch, that's honestly more plausible to me than someone just shapeshifting an animal. Because I mean, you can look it up. I Googled it or whatever, researched it. Government said there's aliens. You know, they're not aliens with
The
UFOs.
government's bought the place and investigated it for like 20, 30 years. And
Oh.
most of it's classified still. But the issue is you have like cattle mutilations, you've got lots
Yeah.
of UFO sightings.
Well, but that goes all back to Roswell too, which I want to do an episode on.
Okay.
So we'll keep that under wraps.
So let me ask you this: what would make you a believer? Like, what would have to happen for you to become a?
Yeah.
Like, to-
Yeah.
To see a shift?
Probably because it's kind of like paranormal, like, not paranormal, but ghost hunting, where I'm like 80-20, where yeah, I'm pretty sure there's ghosts, but then I kind of have this 20% like, what happened? But I mean, I've had stuff happen where you cannot explain it, like the Landau Castle.
Mhm.
You know, there's a lot of stuff. I had a EMF detector on the table, didn't go off for 20 minutes, and then I asked a question, and boom, it went off because it senses the electromagnetic field in the air, and that's what ghosts are supposedly put off. So
where's the disconnect for you then? I mean, you believe
the
in ghosts.
shapeshifter.
Yeah, why couldn't that be just another version of?
Paranormal.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to you literally have to change form. I don't think that a person could change form. Demonically, I believe that someone can be possessed.
Mm-hmm.
And your behavior and so forth can change upon that. But as far as you, like, listen, if you turn into a dog right now, I would be like,
Believer.
yeah, no shit. Damn. Frank's a dog.
Yeah.
But,
As well as
You know-
running out my back door.
yeah.
Chasing after a cat.
It's just one of them things. Like, I just, you know how odd that sounds? I mean, think like, what if I turned into a dog right now?
If you did,
Yeah.
I mean, I hate it for your wife and kids, but
Believer.
Like, listen, it's kind of like the werewolf thing, you know? I don't know.
I fear for their safety, so I'm putting you down.
There you go. I got my rabies shot, so I'm good. But,
Well, as long as you don't hump my leg.
but I mean, like,
Wait,
just the
were you
word.
thinking about hump my leg? Is that why you're?
No.
You guys, he's like, oh, see, I want to
So,
just across the street.
Right,
And they wonder why I put up lines.
Yeah.
Dear God.
shapeshifter does look
Between
good.
him hump my leg and him staring at my windows, I mean, you see what I'm.
Those
So,
weird neighbors.
but to put it in perspective, that like that, as far as you shapeshifting into an animal, I don't. You know how much like biologically has to happen?
But if it's outside the realm of science and physics, I mean,
There's-
it comes down to the supernatural,
Like aliens. Aliens can shape shift apparently.
and they like cows.
Have you seen an alien?
Not yet, but I would like to.
There, aliens can shapeshift.
Some species can, yeah.
So, is that what the Native Americans?
That's what I'm
were
saying.
seeing?
That's what I said beforehand. It's what they were attributing it to demons.
We got time out. I need a beer. This is. Woo! Let's go.
No, keep going.
No, I know.
It's getting deep,
So what was it actually aliens that the Native Americans were seeing?
and they were just attributing it to something that they could only imagine in their mind.
Yeah,
They were-
it's them.
They were so spiritual and so non-advanced like we are today that they attributed to something that they were conscious with, which
Yeah.
would be evil.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, oh damn.
That's why I was saying Skinwalker Ranch was supposedly a portal because there's constantly UFOs and everything there.
Yeah.
And there's Skinwalker Ridge that goes right through Skinwalker Ranch.
Where's I've
Utah.
never. Okay.
So it's out west. And that, I mean, they have tried to attribute that to like the nuclear test that went on with the Manhattan Project, I think.
Yeah.
And radiation drinking that way, but the Skinwalker Ridge goes right through there, and that's supposedly where most of the Skinwalkers are seen.
Is that well? Besides the government owned land there, is it open to you and I so that you guys and I start camping or okay?
It's a parcel of land. I think it's like 30, 40 acres of land. This entire ranch is, and everything around it is all Native American land. So it's like on a reservation, but that one ranch is specifically owned by a super rich dude, and that was the show on Discovery Plus I've been watching, and that's where he bought the land and he hired a bunch of investigators with a bunch of high-tech equipment to go out there and investigate all this kind of stuff. So,
Was it Discovery that also brought us the same chuckleheads down in West Virginia?
Bigfoot,
History.
Well, it was History Channel.
they
Okay.
did Bigfoot, finding Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Discovery did.
Where they go out there and they just ooh and knock on fucking trees. Yeah, yeah, those guys.
All right. So. All right. Well,
Well, I think we got a
little
little.
did you guys know.
Right.
This is why you don't introduce Matt to this kind of stuff.
So, hopefully you enjoyed the video, the hour-long video that we'll probably want to have.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.